Hello, YouTube friends. Today I want to talk to you about a collection that I bought in March of 2022. This is going to be the first video on it. I will title all the collections, pictures, box openings, whatever I do with this collection. They will all be titled Iowa Grail Collection. So this is going to be the first video of it. I'm just going to talk about it a little bit here, and I might show a few cards here at the end. But this was a March of 2022 collection that I bought. It's sat in closets and some other places for 4 years, and I've only went through about maybe 20% of the entire collection at this point. I'm going to call it the Grail collection because this was the biggest collection I've ever bought. It was the most money I ever spent at one time on either a collection, a card, an auction, anything like that. This was by far the most money I've spent in one place at one time on cards. Let's just say when I started bringing it all home and started filling up like the spare room and under the bed and every little nook and cranny, my wife was not too happy with it. But I think once she's come around to seeing some of the value that's come out of it, maybe she's forgiven me a little bit. Anyway, this collection had about 500,000 to 700,000 cards in it. What happened was I worked at Siemens in Fort Masson. It's about a half-hour drive from where I live, and I worked with this woman who was my partner at the time, not my work partner. So let's get that straight. Just my work partner. And we worked together as partners for about 2 years. And so, I'd come in after a weekend. She'd ask what I did, and I'd tell her, over the weekend we did travel baseball or whatever it was. And, we got to know each other pretty well because of just working together for 2 years and being partners. And one weekend, after a weekend, I went to a card show, and she asked what I did this past weekend. I said I went to a card show, and she brought up the fact that her grandpa had collected. I said, okay, cool, that's awesome. Anytime you want him to show me the collection, or I'd love to just go look or whatever, let me know. And so she got a hold of her grandpa, and her grandpa said, anytime you want to come over and take a look, that'd be great. I could look around, maybe buy a few cards off of them, fill in my sets, whatever I needed. At the time, I kind of put that in the back of my mind, but I never really gave it a whole lot of thought. I was just so busy with kids and baseball, traveling. I had 3 kids that have played travel baseball now over the past 10 years. And so helping coach most of those teams, I was just gone every weekend. We were at practices almost every night because you throw in 2 travel basketball teams at a time in the winter, and they were playing soccer. They all tried wrestling and everything else. Anyway, my schedule was just jam-packed, and I never had time to go look at this collection. But I did have his name, I had his number, and I had pictures of the collection, which was on shelves, like in a basement, and it took up like 3 whole sides of this room in the basement, kind of like floor to ceiling, just boxes shoved on shelves. I didn't know if they were in any order or what, but she ended up quitting, and she went to work for another company. And about 5 years after that, I quit and went to work at my old company, which was General Electric. So here we are. We'd exchanged these numbers, and we had this in mind, but it never came around to actually looking at the collection. And we stayed in touch a little bit just through a little messaging on Facebook or this or that. But it was kind of out of the blue. She messaged me and told me that her grandpa, was I still collecting cards? And I said, yes, I was. And I said, I sure hope nothing happened to your grandpa. And she said, nope, he's still alive and doing well, but he is getting older and he wants to sell his entire collection. I said, okay, what do you want from me? Do you want me to come give you estimates, valuations? Do you want me to come buy it? What are you looking to do? And she said, well, you can come take a look and see if you're interested, and then we'll throw out a price for you. So I said, okay, I can do that. So I went down and I looked at this collection, and it was just massive, wall to wall, everywhere. A lot of it was in order. A lot of it wasn't. But he had a lot of it by sets. Some were complete, some were missing a few cards, some were missing a few more than a few cards, but they were not exactly labeled. You had to open the box to find out if there was a little paper inside to see if it was missing a star or a common, or if it was complete or what. A lot of them were complete, and then you'd open it up and there'd be extras in there as well. Like you might have a 2006 Upper Deck basketball set, and you'd open it up and inside would be four Jordans, 4 Kobe's, 6 LeBrons, plus a complete set. And you'd have all the inserts in there, jersey cards, autos would all be kind of thrown in there as well. So you didn't really know what was in all the boxes that were labeled as sets. So some of them were incomplete and some were not. A lot of cards were organized by year. You'd hand me a box that said 1956 top. So I'd grab that box and I'd finger through it and say, okay, yeah, here's a Mickey Mantle record breaker card, or a Mickey Mantle leaders card, or whatever it was. And okay, here's a so-and-so or whatever. There'd be a few stars mixed into every one of these boxes. And he just kept handing me box after box. Like, here's the 1958s, here's the 1962s, here's the... And I'd just look through them, and of course, in every box there's 2 or 3 great big stars. You know, there might be the Mantle, there might be the Mays, there might be an Aaron, there might be Clemente. Anyway, so I'm looking at all these and I'm starting to think there's no way I can afford this collection. But it came with all those sets. It came with all the cards that were organized by years. It had 2-row shoe boxes full, each one organized by a player's name. Might be Nolan Ryan, might be Ozzie Smith, it might be Steph Curry. But there's probably 100 of those boxes, 2-row boxes, and every one was just full of whatever player was written down on there. It might have been Kevin Garnett, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant. And so anyway, you'd look in there and there'd be $50 cards, $100 cards, $2 cards, $4 cards. You'd just pulled out every Kobe you got and stuffed them into this box. So all in all, I ended up with all these sets, all these cards organized by years, all these collections of certain star players. Came with some posters. It came with a cardboard cutout stand-up of Jordan. It ranged from 1952 Topps cards all the way up to 2018 cards. This guy, when he sold the collection to me, was 91 at the time. And so I'm looking through it, and he had every card priced. And I asked him how he had priced his cards, and he had priced them based upon I believe it was 2021 or 2018, 2019, somewhere in there, Beckett Almanac. So he had priced every card he had based on the Beckett Almanac cards. And so you know how Beckett is. A lot of those sell for a lot less than what's listed in the Beckett price guide. So it might be in the Beckett for $100, but you got to go by the grade of the card, and you can go online and see most of them cards are selling for $20, $30, whatever. But so he hands me a box, and I'm looking through it, and says Steph Curry. And so I open it up and there's some Steph Curry rookie cards in there. There's probably 20 of them. And then he hands me a box of Tom Brady, and I open up that box, and inside that box was 27 Tom Brady rookie cards. So anyway, this is starting to get to the point where I'm really believing there's no way I can afford this. So after 2 hours of sitting there with them, just looking through boxes, the granddaughter was there, his wife was there. I came out and said, I just got to ask. I got to know now before I get too interested, too involved, because it's starting to look like I cannot afford this collection. So I said, I just got to ask, how much do you want for it all? And they came out with a price, and it fit my budget, but it was well under what I thought they would ask for it. And he had them all priced, so it's not like he didn't know what they were worth. And I said, well, if you can get all the money you need based upon the value out of these few cards here, or these, all your vintage would add up to that price. I said, why are you selling it for that price? He says, because I don't have the time and I don't want to take the effort to piece it out. He says, I don't want to sell a few to you, a few to the next guy, and take my time that way. He says, that's my bottom line price, and that's to take it all or take nothing. And I said, done deal. And I'm not going to get into the specifics of the price, but I will be having a few videos coming up showing a lot of the cards I got out of that collection. And like I said, they will all be labeled Iowa Grail Collection. While it may not be a grail in the sense of the word, I didn't get no $1 million cards or nothing like that. I did get a lot of great cards that really enhanced the value of my collection, and I'll be showing a lot of those off for you. So anyway, let's turn the camera around and just take a peek at a few of the cards I pulled out of a recent box I went through. All right, so I'm going to take a peek at a few of the cards I got, but I did forget to tell you earlier that I have already went through some of this, and so I did already go through a 5,000 count box of older vintage cards from 52 to 1972-ish, and those are already put into my collection, integrated into it. And so if I pull some of those out, I'll let you know, but for the most part, you probably won't see those in a video. But here are a few I pulled out of a recent box I found. So how about a Pete Rose OPC card from 1978. And then we got some 1971s here. We got Vita Blue. Dropping them. How about Felipe Alou? That one got a crease up here in the corner. Don Kessinger. Got Ken Holtzman. Roberto Pena. And just to show you an example, not every card was, great shape. As you can see, the crease right down through the middle of that card, and another one going this way. Wayne Granger. Terry Forrester. I believe those were high numbers, if I'm not mistaken. 520, 539. Red Sox team card. Another Don Kessinger Cubs card. That's got crease, and another crease up here. The corners are bad. It's got a crease down through it. How about a Hank Aaron RBI's leader card with Joe Torre and Willie Stargell. That card is in pretty nice shape. Got the 4 nice corners. A little bit off center. Got Glenn Beckert, sorry. That's got several creases through it. That was the green version of the Cubs, and this the yellow version, where the Cubs underline there is in yellow. And that one was your green. See the difference there? He had them labeled wrong. That knocked the camera over. We got Bob, high number, from 1970. We'll save and do that one last. Got Larry Burchart. We got Larry Hissel. Got another Larry Hissel. Got Lou. Not even going to pronounce that last name. How about Bert Campaneris? And then 1970 Topps Hank Aaron. And that one is a little off center, left to right. You can see that. But it has 4 pretty sharp corners. That one's got a little rounded to it, but overall this card is in great shape. So that just gives you a little bit of an idea of what kind of cards came out of this collection. I'll be showing a lot more, and like I said, they'll all be labeled the Iowa Grail collection. So if you like my videos, please subscribe and hit the like button. And I appreciate every one of you that watches these videos and comments. And we'll see you some more. Thank you. Bye.